Welcome back to this week's edition of Gunpla product news and analysis. And we kind of have a lot to talk about. Nothing terribly new, but we have a lot of follow-up announcements for a lot of these products. So let's take a peek. The first is going to be this review of the RX-78 F00 Gundam. I'm not really sure if it's called the F00 Gundam or if it's just F00, but these have been released, and these are replicas of the F00 RX-78 Gundam that is now erected in Japan that can fully walk and all that great stuff. So there's a 1/144th scale version, and then there is a 1/100th scale version. And so we can take a look at some of the images here. And overall, it's a solid model kit. I mean, we also have like 5 different iterations of the Gundam right now. We have the, the HGUC Revive, we have Beyond Global, we have the G40, we have the new entry version that's coming out along with, the older versions, the real grade, or the older HGUC versions, the real grade. We also have, what else? I'm pretty sure I'm missing one more somewhere in there. But this is the newest addition to the Grandpa Gundam line. Now, is there much of a difference between this and the other stuff? Well, kind of. If you're interested in and specifically talking about the 1/144th version right now, if you are looking for a MS cage, this one comes with it. If you're looking for a Gundam with a ton of extra detail on the back, this one has it. The 1/100 scale is not much different, to be completely honest. The 1/100 scale is going for about 4,000 yen, and the 1/144th scale is going for about, let me see if it's somewhere on here. I would imagine it's about 12 or like 2,000. Yeah. Let me see if we can find it. We'll probably have to follow up with that in a separate video. All in all, I think that they look pretty nice. I don't think that they are anything too special. And that's kind of the problem, because this is kind of the same thing that the real grade 1/144th scale RX-78 Gundam kind of suffered, right? So that one was released when the original Gundam statue, the 1/1 scale statue, was released, and so it made for a really exciting moment. Everyone wanted to grab that model kit, and I feel like this is kind of in the same vein, right? So you want to get this because you want to celebrate the erection of this new statue. And so for me personally, I would love to get my hands on this kit, but at a specific time. Like if I were going to Japan and I saw the statue, I saw it move, this would be a great kit to buy for that moment. And then I can always look at this model kit and say, this is when I went to go and see the statue. But if you're just buying it, I don't think that there's any product difference really between this and the existing RX-78 molds that we have. I mean, you do get a lot more external detail, like I've been saying. You get some variations and changes to the mold, but it's not anything like super significant. I think your money could probably go elsewhere for the time being. And I think you would have a lot more fun if you went to Japan and you picked this kit up. But for me, I think this might be kind of a pass. Don't get me wrong, it's a great kit. I think it's really awesome. I think it has lots of really cool movement. I think this aspect here on its thigh is like one of the coolest things, because I think the 1/144th scale also has something similar. You have a little bit of that thigh separation there. And the MS cage is actually pretty cool for the 1/144th scale version, and for the 1/100th scale version, you kind of have basically like the little docking mechanism that the Gundam is attached to. So next up, for announcement's sake, we're getting a reissue of the HG AC 1/144th scale Leo, and it's going for 2,300 yen. And so if you're a Gundam Wing fan or a Leo fan, then this is definitely a must buy. You have, the different accessories that go along with the Leo, Dober gun, bazooka, extra beam sabers, all that good stuff, flight pack, shield, and the iconic beam bazooka that they use at the very beginning of Gundam Wing. So I would say if you are building up your Leo army and you just want to spruce up your collection a little bit, then these would be great additions. You even get the little parachute back if you want to recreate that first scene in the first episode. So yeah, I think that I had heavily considered picking one of these up because they do look pretty cool. And at the very least, if you're a custom builder, you can get these weapon sets and you can put them on some of your kits that you really like. All right, and this is going to be the bulk of this video, but they just released a review of the MG Extreme Unicorn Gundam version Katoki. Now, there's a couple of photos that I want to show, and a couple of notations I want to make about this kit. Now, first off, if you have never gotten a Master Grade Unicorn, I think that this would be pretty fantastic for you to get for a couple of reasons. So, first off, the price point. It's about 25,000 yen. So that's going to come out to be about $250. Very pricey. But you do get LEDs. So let's take a look right now at what the LEDs actually look like. So here's the MS cage. Here's the accessories that you're going to be getting. You get all three of the shields and all the Gatling guns. You get basically everything except for the full armor pack. And everything kind of slots in very nicely together in the MS cage. You get your decal sheet. And here you go. Here are the LEDs that you're going to be slipping into the model kit. It actually is way more elegant than the perfect grade. So I'm very much appreciating that. And it can turn two different colors as opposed to the perfect grade that can only turn one color because it utilizes not the LED, but it uses the, we call it the color of the plastic. And so this is what it's going to look like pretty much on the inside. Now, this kind of brings up my first point. My first point is that if you just want to display your unicorn, it's always going to look clear. And if you want to put your unicorn on a shelf or something like that, and you want to look a particular way, maybe in the pink destroy mode or maybe in the green destroy mode, it's not going to look that way. And so here we go and have some pictures of this. Now, does it look good? It does. It looks really great. The proportions of it are very similar to the real grade, in my opinion. And if we can have some comparison shots of the old Master Grade, there's a little bit of differences here and there, but overall, I don't really see too much. So, for example, here we go, like in the back. I think it was like the leg joint that's kind of constructed a little bit differently. This just seems like a little bit less split up than the old Master Grade. I think there's a little bit more separation here. But yeah, I think that's kind of the major gripe. So I've also heard that this Master Grade, the EX, is also more stable. There's a lot more locking mechanisms to allow for the transformation to be more solid. So if this is something that you want to pose, then that'd be really great. The problem is, if you want to pose it without the base and to put into a bunch of different action poses, kneeling poses, that kind of stuff, you won't have it lit up. it will always be in this, deactive mode. And if people like this deactivated mode, then that's fantastic. But the real gimmick is the LEDs, right? And so these are just some of the best shots that you can make with the LED set. Standing pose, almost like different angled standing pose, almost launching pose. You're not really going to get too much out of it. So, kind of flying pose, kind of back flying pose. It's not going to be that much. And so if you don't like the way that looks, if you don't like, that's not the way that you want to display your unicorn, then you're kind of out of luck, unfortunately. Great news is that the full armor weapons pack actually fits onto this guy. And let's be honest, I think this is really cool looking. But I do like to have my Gundams kind of standing without a base. And so the only way that this is going to look show accurate is if it's connected to a base. So that's an unfortunate part about this master grade, but if you're in the shop for a unicorn, then maybe this is something you might want to consider picking up. So there's one last bit that I thought was kind of interesting, and that was, we're just going to kind of scroll through some of these pictures here, and that was the way that the action base kind of worked for this model kit. And the action base can actually or you can equip everything onto it. And I'm not sure if it's the same as the old MS Cage, but you're able to equip the beam sabers on the bottom side of it. You get some really cool little Cardius Fists dying action figures and or sculpts, and you can put all of the extra equipment like the hands and stuff like that into a little cubby. So I think we're getting to it right now. So the stands for the shields will actually dock to the back when not in use, which I think is very cool and very clever. Once these are all extended out, you can see here that the beam sabers can actually fit on the bottom. I think that's very clever. Maybe it's the same as the old MS Cage. I'm not really sure. I actually have the old MS Cage, but I never utilized that function. And it's this little box here, I think. So yeah, you can store your weapons in the back, but if you look at, yes, here we go. So you can put all of your spare parts into this little box. And I think that's really fantastic that you have a place for every single part that you could possibly get on this model kit. Yeah, and I mean, it does look great. If I didn't already have a master grade, I probably would pick this up, but I have 3. All right, and the last bit of news that we have for this recording is new images of the master grade 1/100 scale Wing Gundam Zero version KA. Now, this is a very controversial suit. I know a lot of people are really excited for the announcement for the version KA, and they're severely disappointed when this was the one that was announced. But I would like to argue, not just because I'm a fan of Wing, but I would like to argue that this actually does provide one really interesting thing compared to all the other compared to the newest iteration of the Wing Zero custom. So the old version obviously did not have the shield. And so because of that, you can actually transform this kit. Now let me see if it has a price point yet. Yeah, so about 6,000 yen. So I think it's about double from what the old master grade was, but that old master grade came out in like 2,000 or something. So this version can transform, which is great. This pose right now is really interesting to me because you can see the toe articulation, you can see the bend in the legs, kind of like what I was addressing before with the Mercurius and V8, right? They're going to show off the best articulation that kit can do. They're not going to show off the worst. And so right now you can see that this is the absolute best these legs can bend, and this is fantastic. because the close proximity that these legs have to each other is not something that you can get in a traditional kneeling pose. And a lot of it is due to the way that these toes can bend and the length of these legs. And I think they have another picture here. The legs are actually way longer than I had expected. And the feet, though they kind of look a little bit disproportionate because they look pretty huge. Like, I mean, here's the size of my cursor. So it's like 1, 2.5 size of my cursor. It's like the same length as the torso almost, or it looks like it's the same length as the torso. But that added feet length, I'm guessing will add to that stability in the back. So I'm actually kind of excited to see what this kit has in store. So I think we get some transformation images here, where you can either put it with all 4 wings up on top, or all 2 wings up on the top, and then there we go, 2 wings on the top, and the more angelic looking wings in the bottom, making it very similar to the Neo bird mode that we're kind of used to seeing, or the bird mode, or the wing gun that we're used to seeing. And so I think we're getting closer to the bottom of these images. And this is where I'm going to talk about the one gimmick that sets this apart from every other Wing Zero custom. And that's this. This is that money shot right there. This is the reason why you buy this kit. And it's because in almost every action figure form of the Wing Zero custom, we have never seen a place for the Buster Rifle to be stored. Even in the original Wing Zero custom, or the Wing Zero, we have not really seen a place for the Buster Rifle to be stored. You could store it as a toy, like on the side of the shield, or maybe have the left hand hold it. But this actually provides a more, I don't know how to say this, but like better explanation for where the Wing Zero got its Buster Rifle in the show, because you don't see it at all. They don't really show the underneath side of the wings, but at least you can pretend like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Like the Buster Rifle is not just kind of like flung somewhere, or like it didn't just pick it up while it's on Earth. It was actually hidden in the wings. And I think this is a really great little thing that they're including, because it kind of adds a little bit more to the lore, expands a little bit more on the design of the Wing Zero custom. And I don't know, I think I would probably consider picking one of these up just for this gimmick alone. I think it's a pretty neat, very elegant way to store the gun. But anyway, that is it about the Wing Zero custom. As much hate as it gets, I think it's a pretty solid model kit. And I think people who pick it up will be pleasantly surprised with it. It looks very solid. It looks like it can do all of its poses very well. And you have a fair amount of gimmicks, including the transformations and the different storage of the equipment. So kind of like the Wings or the Master Grade Unicorn Gundam that we were just talking about. This guy can potentially store all of its pieces of equipment and accessories onto the figure without you having to store everything into like a plastic bag or something like that.